Hi there.
There's your med kit. Go get it. There's your med kit. Pick it up.
I now show objective Bravo.
It always feels good to take an objective and defend it by yourself like that. Like going into an objective and taking everybody out there, sometimes you kill like 5 or 7 people at one objective by yourself and you capture it. And out of all the 32 people in your team, you're the only one that was there. You know, it's really fun to do that. I think that hardcore also gives you the chance to really do a lot of damage as one singular person. And I really like hardcore because I feel as if whenever you're playing Battlefield in the standard mode, you just can't do the damage that real guns could, and people will make mistakes, but they might not get the consequences of those mistakes, like because they can't die as easily. And in this, if they turn a corner and they look the opposite direction, then you're getting a double kill really, really easily. And with some guns like the M416, especially with something like just a basic foregrip, like a potato grip, I think, to minimize the overall damage or percentage of recoil or something, and then also the heavy barrel to increase that longer range accuracy. Wow, is this gun powerful in hardcore. Now the USAS is a little bit more powerful in hardcore than I thought it would be, but bringing something like an M416 is just such a reliable gun, and it works really, really well. And also I tried a gun that I didn't really use much before. Like when I played it back on the Xbox One, I used the M416 a ton in Battlefield 4. But in Battlefield 4 on PC, I realized that the like recoil control is a lot more. Like as you can see, this guy's really far away, and I did go to a little bit of left, but the recoil is almost spot on throughout that entire burst I did on him, and that's just because the I guess mouse and keyboard just is such a better system for controlling recoil. Like I never need a muzzle brake on any of these guns anymore, like I used to have on my Xbox, which a muzzle brake on the rifles, as you guys may know, does decrease recoil, but putting a heavy barrel on actually, I believe, increases recoil, but it makes it a lot more accurate over longer ranges, so that's also really, really nice. People always kind of ask, like, if I have a really, really good aim or something, if I directly go to somebody's head in a game, like, if I'm hacking. No, just kidding. They ask, like, how I really do that. Well, I have a gigantic mouse pad, and I used to actually play a lot of the games that I play in very, very high mouse sensitivities, but I realized that my hand movements are rather twitchy, and if I can soften those hand movements at all, then that's always a good thing. And so my brother actually gave me a mouse pad for Christmas, and the Christmas beforehand, my girlfriend gave me a mouse pad. And so I'm going to show you like a comparison picture of the mouse pad versus the new mouse pad, and show you just how much bigger the Logitech mouse pad is. And I'm not sponsored by Logitech, I know like everything on this picture is, but I just like their stuff. I like their stuff. I actually want to change this keyboard out. It's kind of old, and some of the keys are like really hard to press down. But having a big mouse pad like that really enables you to lower your sensitivity, and over like every single game I play, let's say on Battlefield or even Rainbow Six Siege, I'll lower my sensitivity by 1%. So, you know, let's say in a month time, you lower your sensitivity by 1% every single day, and you play a game every single day for a month, then that's 30% down from what you used to be. And over a month of time, you can really lower your sensitivity, get yourself really, I guess, used to just lower sensitivities on mouse pads and such. And overall, I think it's worked really well for me. I didn't really feel comfortable with it at all at first, and I didn't really do 1% per day, but I did more like 5% per day. But over time, it definitely has helped me with aiming in games. And like, for example, this actual map we're playing right here, I got a lot of kill streaks because I was getting a lot of headshots with this, and lucky, really, really lucky headshot bonuses there, which in hardcore do a huge difference. And the M416 has that capacity to really have a high rate of fire, so those headshots are easy. But also, the QSZ really does as well. In hardcore, headshots are like one-hit kill with a lot of different guns, and with something like the QSZ, because the rate of fire is so high, and it's got a magazine capacity of like 20, it's just a really, really good gun to use on this map. Another thing I wanted to talk about today is the Xbox Scorpio. The Xbox Scorpio is getting a little bit of commotion right now. I'm just hearing a few podcasts talking about it, and it's supposed to be basically the next Xbox. It's kind of interesting how they're doing consoles nowadays, where, you know, there was the Xbox 360, and then there's the Xbox 360 Slim, which is the same thing, just with a bigger hard drive and a lot smaller. But then as time went on, the Xbox One comes out. Now there's an Xbox One, like, S or something. Like, there's a slim version of the Xbox One now, which is interesting. And apparently it's, like, a tiny bit overclocked as well. Like, although they tightened the size down, somehow it actually is able to run cooler. And so they overclocked the processor on that thing, the APU. So it's able to actually have a little bit better frames than the standard Xbox One, which is interesting. And it's able to run 4K stuff. And 4K is where we get to the Scorpio, because not only is the Scorpio able to just stream videos at 4K like the Xbox One S, but it's able to actually play games at 4K. Now, let me just say this, as a PC gamer, we all know a little bit more about 4K than console gamers might, but 4K is a really, really hard thing to do, especially in AAA titles that there's a lot of stuff going on, especially in the games that, you know, you guys who watch my channel play, like Battlefield or Arma and things like that. Quite intensive games. It is challenging to get 4K, so I would be surprised, or I'd be interested to see what games are actually going to run 4K at 60 FPS on something like the Xbox Scorpio, because I can just imagine 4K at 30 FPS becoming a standard just so they can sell the game on it comes in 4K, which should not ever be a thing. I really don't think that you should tone down a frame rate of a game at all for resolution. I think that 1080p is like what you need, but anything above 1080p isn't really amazing. But 60 FPS is what you need, but anything above 60 FPS is still a really good improvement, or at least 30 FPS is still a much better improvement, going from 30 to 60. Like I would buy another $100 into a console just so I can get 60 FPS into a game compared to 30. And right now, they're talking about all this 4K stuff, and I'm sitting here going, hopefully these games run in 60 FPS. If you haven't watched my recent videos about my new monitor, which has changed my view about frame rate and resolution forever, is that I upgraded from a 1080p 60Hz monitor, which is basically 60 FPS, to a 1440p 144Hz monitor. And talking about resolution difference, it's 70% more pixels. 70%! That means it's 170% pixels compared to 1080p. Yet, I think the difference is about, like, maybe a 20% difference in picture quality. I think the main difference I see is that I can see textures, like, of the snow you see in the background better at a distance, because I can have my game running on my right screen through OBS as well, and I can just see the difference directly of 1080p versus 1440. But it doesn't make a huge difference, to be honest. 1440p is nice, and you can get some really good screenshots out of it. But adding 70% more pixels on your screen, one, it costs a lot of usage for your GPU. And then two, it also is going to make the price of the console bump up a ton because of that increased GPU. I think that playing a game at most, or at least at 60 FPS is definitely needed. But something like 4K... it's definitely not necessary. I've watched and I've actually played games on 4K monitors, and I was like, wow, this is pretty, but on a 60 Hz refresh rate display, I'm sitting there missing the 144 Hz games, which is something that's like very, very like, oh, kids in Africa could have eaten those frames. You know, it's something very petty to really talk about anything over 1080p at 60 FPS and really judging anything like that. But I would definitely, if you have not really had experience with 4K screens, it's nothing insanely spectacular in my eyes, and I think I have pretty good eyes. I have like 1520 vision or something, or 1220 vision, so I'm pretty sharp, you know. And 4K monitors are pretty sharp, but it's definitely not worth the performance downgrades that I think they'll have to do to games. Like on a 1080 Ti even. Some games just cannot run at 60 FPS. On a 1080 Ti, that's like an $800 graphics card right now, or at least on a 1080 they can't. There's a lot of games that cannot run 4K Ultra. And looking at something like Halo 5, for example, where Halo 5 on the Xbox One, they really tried to push 60 FPS. They really wanted the game to be at 60 FPS. They added so many things into that game that made it hold at 60 FPS, but even getting to that frame rate just totally degraded the entire game's like appealing beautifulness. Like the anisotropic filtering at a distance just made entire roads turn into a single texture, and it was just absolutely gross. And also, the resolution of Halo 5 goes up and down as you're playing the game because it senses just how much the console is being like stressed by playing Halo 5, and then it will downsize the resolution live while you're playing the game, and man, you can feel it. If you turn around towards the map, your screen instantly goes to 720p, and then you turn around the other direction and it instantly goes to 900p. You can feel it on Halo 5. It does not feel like a next-gen experience. And I don't really understand. Like, there are a lot prettier games, especially something like Battlefield 4. I know that runs at 720p on Xbox One, but that game still looks beautiful. I mean, it looks just the same as it does on PC as it does on Xbox One. And that game just looks, oh my gosh, does it look good. But yeah, so I'm scared of the Xbox One Scorpio, or Xbox Scorpio, because although they're advertising 4K, I feel like 4K is just a marketing word. Like, they're just like, hey, we need to put 4K in everything. Everything is 4K. 4K, 4K, 4K. Because right now, I feel like in their corporate headquarters, they're just like, what do the kids like? Oh, they like higher resolutions. Alright, let's just say 4K. That's a new word. It's 4K. And I feel like for something like an Xbox Scorpio to be able to be actually affordable and still run 4K, they're still gonna have to downgrade the graphics of a lot of different games. This is kind of making me wonder, is there ever going to be quality options on consoles? I think that consoles would really actually benefit from quality options. I think Jack Frags once made a video about this a long time ago, where, I mean, I totally agree with him. I don't really remember exactly what he was saying. I just remembered him mentioning this. But consoles could actually very much benefit from something like this. Destiny, for example, was a game that came out at 1080p at 30 FPS. Now, a competitive, like a very highly competitive multiplayer scene came onto that game, but you're playing it at 30 FPS, and 30 FPS in this day and age is very, very choppy compared to, especially when you play games at 60 or 144 FPS. Definitely a huge difference there. And if I had the ability to play Destiny at 720p at 30 FPS, or sorry, 60 FPS compared to 1080p at 30 FPS, I would definitely choose the frame rate over the higher resolution. And let's say the Xbox One Scorpio comes out and you have a 144Hz monitor, but it's not 4K, it's like a 1080p monitor. Well, that'd be really, really nice if I could like click a setting, just not even really in-depth settings like PC games have, but just enough settings to really tell the user, like, hey, do you want me to play the game at 1080p at 144 frames per second maximum, or 4K at 30 FPS, or 1440p at 60, you know, things like that would really make a difference in, I feel like, console gaming, because then you could actually choose whether you wanted the game to be very, very pretty, whether you wanted to show off that high resolution, or whether you wanted to actually play the game really competitively and get that higher frame rate. Because higher frame rate, especially with something like an Xbox where the controller latency from you to the TV is like a ton much larger than the latency between your mouse and an actual computer like monitor. There's a huge latency there between an Xbox controller and a standard TV, and the higher the refresh rate can get, the lower that latency is, and that definitely helps out with playing games competitively. And I feel like Xbox's lineup right now isn't as good. I'm definitely an Xbox type of guy. Like, I enjoy the controllers better, and I think that Halo is a great series other than the new ones. And so I'm definitely a guy who's had Xboxes a lot in the past and never had a PS or PlayStation since like the PlayStation 2. But games nowadays seem to be coming out with a lot of marketing about like their graphics and such. And graphics are important to an extent, but I feel like gameplay overall is a much, much better option. For example, last night until like 1:30 a.m., my buddies and I were playing this game called Intruder. The devs actually contacted me, gave us some codes, and it's actually a really interesting game. Like, if you wanted to get a party game that's kind of like Rainbow Six Siege, a lot cheaper too, definitely, you know, very, very minimalistic graphics and such, but it's a hilariously funny game. Intruder is a really fun game to play because there's all these little kind of gadgets and gizmos that you can use to be an effective spy or be an effective defender of objectives, and every building has different objectives. It's very bare bones, but it's a really interesting game, and I definitely had a lot of fun playing it. I'll put some clips of it right here for you guys. Fuck, it's locked.
Yeah, try to explode it.
Oh, shit.
Oh my god. Did you take any damage?
Nope, I didn't. Same plan.
Copy that. I think they went towards my right in the building.
One's down. Got one.
Oh, nice. I'm coming. I'm on the roof.
I'm to your right when you get in. I'm to the right of the door when you come in. Just down the hall.
Roger that.
I'm behind you. See me?
See you. Over.
That one's locked.
Let's take a selfie.
Copy that. Selfie acquired. Yes! Yes! You're still alive. You're still alive. You're still alive!
Wait, where did you kill Mia?
Oh my gosh. I killed me at the very first part.
Who was crawling? Was that NJ?
That was NJ. And okay, I was crawling through that entire room. I was crawling through that entire room with my little webcam or like my selfie stick out, just looking over the tables. Like I was pointing. It was really useful actually. I was pointing it straight up. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the Battlefield 4 gameplay, enjoyed me kind of playing with this loadout today and getting some good kill cams for you guys, and also if you'd like to see more intruder footage, because I definitely have a lot more of that, please comment it down in the comment section down below. And whoa, outro music, stop. Editor, stop it. No. I want to tell them one more thing. Nope. Okay. If you guys enjoy watching live streams, then come check out some of mine. I am on Twitch almost every few days now, live streaming some pretty cool games, some Rainbow Six Squeegees, some Battlegrounds and things like that. So if you enjoy watching my videos, then you might like watching my live streams. So come follow me on Twitch, and I will see you guys in the next one.